Medhavi Jai Madhya Ki. Srila Prabhupada Ki. ISKCON Kirtan Yatra Ki. Nitai Gaur. And Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone. Very nice to be back in sunny Cape Town and see all the wonderful devotees here and a few extras. Hare Krishna. I'd like to welcome back Madhavi. She's one of our long-standing members, and she comes in every once in a while and blesses us with her association. So we're celebrating today as the finale of Kartik Vrata, the austerity. Of course, it's a very pleasant austerity of worshiping Krishna. But worshiping Krishna in his childhood pastime of breaking the pot of yogurt and stealing the butter. So it was one of Krishna's most adorable pastimes, actually. And the more and more as the years go by, begin to appreciate how kind Krishna is to show his feature as Lord Damodar. So, generally speaking, when we come to the end of the month of Kartik, and seeing as today we have probably a lot more people than we'll have tomorrow, possibly. We'd like to ask the devotees to share their experience of Kartik Vrata this year. Kartik Vrata. Kartik Vrata can be extremely ecstatic, and it can be extremely painful, let's say, because it means purification. Spiritual life means to purify the heart, purify the senses, purify the mind. So sometimes a Kartik Vrata for an individual devotee may be excruciatingly painful in a spiritual way. And other times it may be just bliss from beginning to end. So we can't choose which one we'll get. It's like reaching into a jar of sweets sometimes. You don't know what you're going to get. So this Kartik Vrata, of course, is different from any other Kartik Vrata. The devotees that are present now are different from last year. They'll be different from next year as well. But the thing about Krishna consciousness is it's very personal. Everything in Krishna consciousness is personal. In the material world, everything is impersonal. Personality is denied, basically. Individualism, in the way that we're talking about our spiritual nature, our individual spiritual nature and personality. But the spiritual world is full of persons and full of people. Even the grass, even the trees and branches, even the stones, everything in the spiritual world is a person. Is a person, and a person has feelings. A person has perceptions. A person has experiences. So we thought maybe today we'll read a little bit from Bhagavad Gita, but we would like devotees, you can prepare yourself, please, to voice your perception. What struck you the most about this particular Kartik Vrata? This Kartik Vrata. So we'll just read a verse from Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Om Jnana Dharandasya Gyananjana Slakaya Chakshurmalitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Swavanatiyam Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Karim Yat Kripatam Aham Vande Shri Gurun Dinatarinam Manchakulturvishya Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Read from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is. Translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Chapter 7, Knowledge of the Absolute. Text number 16. Chaturvida bhajante man jana sukritano arjana arto jigyasur artarti jnani cha bharatarshava. Please repeat. Chaturvida. Four kinds of bhajante, rendering unto me, jana, persons, sukritina, those who are pious, Arjuna, O Arjuna, Arta, the distressed, Jigyasu, the inquisitive, Arta Arti, one who desires material gain. Jnani, one who knows things as they are. Cha, also. Bharata Rishabha, O great one amongst the descendants of Bharat. Translation. O best among the Bharatas. Four kinds of pious men begin to render devotional service unto me. The distressed, the desirer of wealth, the inquisitive, and he who is searching for knowledge of the Absolute. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Unlike the miscreants, they were explained in the previous verse, these are adherents of the regulative principles of the scriptures, and they are called sukritina, or those who obey the rules and regulations of scripture. The moral and social laws and are more or less devoted to the Supreme Lord. Out of these, there are four classes of men. Those who are sometimes distressed, those who are in need of money, those who are sometimes inquisitive, and those who are sometimes searching after knowledge of the absolute truth. These persons come to the Supreme Lord for devotional service under different conditions. These are not pure devotees because they have some aspiration to fulfill in exchange for devotional service. Pure devotional service is without aspiration and without desire for material profit. The Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.1.11 defines pure devotional service thus: Anyabilasita sunyam jnana karmadya navritam anukulyena krishnanu shilanam bhaktir uttama. Quote, one should render transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord Krishna favorably and without desire for material profit or gain through fruitive activities or philosophical speculation. That is called pure devotional service. When these four kinds of persons come to the Supreme Lord for devotional service and are completely purified by the association of a pure devotee, they also become pure devotees. As far as the miscreants are concerned, They were described in the previous verse. For them, devotional service is very difficult because their lives are selfish, irregular, and without spiritual goals. But even some of them, by chance, when they come in contact with the pure devotee, also become pure devotees. Those who are always busy with fruitive activities come to the Lord in material distress, and at that time associate with pure devotees and become, in their distress, devotees of the Lord. Those who are simply frustrated also come sometimes to associate with the pure devotees and become inquisitive to know about God. Similarly, when the dry philosophers are frustrated in every field of knowledge, they sometimes want to learn of God, and they come to the Supreme Lord to render devotional service and thus transcend knowledge of the impersonal Brahman and the localized Paramatma, and come to the personal conception of Godhead by the grace of the Supreme Lord or his pure devotees. On the whole, when the distressed, the inquisitive, the seekers of knowledge, and those who are in need of money are free from all material desires, and when they fully understand that material remuneration has nothing to do with spiritual improvement, they become pure devotees. That's a famous phrase. A famous phrase. When they fully understand that material remuneration has nothing to do with spiritual improvement, they become pure devotees. As long as such a purified stage is not attained, devotees in transcendental service to the Lord are tainted with fruitive activities, the search for mundane knowledge, etc. So one has to transcend all this before one can come to the stage of pure devotional service. Srila Prabhupada. So this is an important phrase here, that as long as this purified stage is not attained, the search for mundane knowledge, etc., one has to come to the platform of transcending all this before one can come to the stage of pure devotional service. So this Kartik Vrata, generally speaking, is a time for purification. It's a time for purification. And Krishna is very kind in that he exposes our material desires. He exposes them so that we can see them. He exposes them so that we can get rid of them and move on to a higher stage of devotional service. That may not be easy. That may be excruciating at times. But Krishna is very kind in that he doesn't let go. He doesn't let go. He has this desire to bring us all back home, back to the service of his lotus feet. So when we understand that Krishna is so kind that he doesn't want us to stay here in this material world, we may think, well, here we are in the middle of, or toward the later part of November, and the birds are chirping and the sun is shining, and we're thinking, well, this is not too bad. But it's the material world. It's the place of birth, death, old age, and disease. So if we're intelligent, and if we receive Krishna's mercy properly, then we can understand this is not our home. It's not where we belong. And if Krishna gives us some indication that we have to give up these things, little things, just to prove that we're more interested in going back home, back to Godhead, than staying and ultimately rotting in this material world. So this Kartik Vrata can be extremely purifying, and it can be extremely ecstatic at times. It's whatever Krishna decides to give to the devotees. And looking at everyone here today, I'm wondering who had an ecstatic Kartik Vrata. Of course, there's a couple of days left still. And who had an excruciating Kartik Vrata. And Both are gifts. Both are gifts from Krishna, and it shows that Krishna takes a personal interest in every one of us. He's not such a big person that, or a small person, that he can't take into consideration each and every one of us, the few people that are assorted here in the temple room here. What to say, all the blades of grass and the chirping birds, all the animals, plants, bugs in the entire cosmic manifestation. He can care for each and every one of them. We only have to acknowledge that he can do so and allow him to do that by bringing us closer to his devotional service. So he has sent his pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada. He sent his words in the Bhagavad Gita, and he's given individually us opportunities for making progress in devotional service. We simply have to choose properly. And it's there. Sometimes people consider that these devotees are mindless robots or something. But there's a lot more to Krishna consciousness. It's about acceptance. It's about accepting the way that Krishna wants to deal with us. That Krishna wants to utilize us in his devotional service. And there's so many interesting stories in the histories of devotional service and also in our own lives. In our own lives, how we were thinking Krishna would want to utilize us in this way, but he decided to utilize us in another way. So that is a personal experience for everyone. It's different for everyone. And how Krishna insists on our purification. And that is his kindness. That is his kindness. We had the opportunity many, many years ago. We were going on traveling Sankirtan. And this is a little story, and I hope, there's going to be time, I hope everyone will take an opportunity to think just for a minute or so of how Krishna entered into your life anytime, but especially during this Kartik Vrata, and blessed you with knowledge that he's there, that he's here, that he cares, and that he has our best interest at heart. So we were traveling on Sankirtan. I was based in southern Ireland, but the money was in the northern Ireland. So we used to travel for the marathons to Belfast. And Belfast was under siege. It was a war zone. The entire town center was fenced off with barbed wire and walls and big concrete obelisks and everything. Nobody could get into the town center except going through different checkpoints. So people that wanted to go from Falls Road to Dunleary, they had to get on the bus and go through the gates on the bus, but they couldn't get off the bus and only get off on the other side. So that left a few minutes, and we were doing announcements. I don't know, Shamanapur, have you ever done announcements on the subways? So it's an art. It's an art. You have to get it just right, or you get nothing. So Shaman is smiling here. I'm sure he knows. Mataji, you know too. So you have to wait for the door to close. And there's a couple of seconds while it's still quiet. And then you make an announcement. Good afternoon, good morning, everyone. We're welfare workers. We're helping the suffering. Give a few pennies, give a few pence. Thank you very much. God bless. Because you only have a few seconds before, in the subway trains, before the noise of the train makes so much that you can't hear anything. And on the buses as well. You don't have much time before people's attention is attracted otherwise. So then you have to catch somebody's eye. You have to catch someone's eye. And then someone, oh, that's all right. I'll give him a few pence. And you go straight to them. And if they give a donation, then practically the whole car will give. Right? So we were doing that. And we went up with one devotee, another devotee. But the first evening he decided wasn't for him. So he hitchhiked back from Belfast back to Dublin. So it left myself with myself for 4 weeks. And every day I had my own little program. Can't say it was the most exciting, but it was a program. And would have some whatever we can make for prasadam. Listen to Srila Prabhupada tape, and then we would go out the whole day making announcements on the buses, and come back in the evening with a big bag of coins. Practically not one single paper note, just coins. And in the morning while we were listening to lecture, then we're putting the coins in a bag. And we go, first thing we do, we go to the bank and put the deposit into the temple's account. So it went on. It went on for, well, it wasn't very long that time. It was only 3 weeks. It was when we were here in South Africa collecting for the temple in Durban. Sometimes it was 2 or 3 months. Selling paintings. But one could appreciate that every little penny that people, or pence, that people gave, it was a donation to Krishna. It was a donation to Krishna. And it wasn't a gigantic gesture, but you could see that people benefited, but they would smile. They would smile. Generally speaking, materialistic people, when they have to give money away, then they're not very happy. But people were happy to give a donation, even though they didn't actually know what was it for. So just by that little contribution, people were connecting with the Supreme Personality of God. And then that's what a devotee's duty is, to connect people to Krishna. They can connect them by distributing books, which is the best. They can connect them by chanting the holy names, which is very, very good. They can connect them by distributing prasadam, food for life. So many ways that a devotee can engage other people in Krishna's service. And by doing that, those people are benefited and Krishna is pleased. And that's all the devotee ultimately wants to do, is to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Try to understand Krishna's wonderful personality and engage in some kind of service. So I hope we can go around the room and ask people what spiritual experience you had. What spiritual experience you had this Kartik Vrata. And don't be shy. We'll just go down the line. We'll go down the line. But we'll ask everyone to please bless us. It's a personal thing. Krishna consciousness is very personal. Even though we are a group of so many people, everything that Krishna does is uniquely personal for everyone. So we'd like to ask everyone to make a contribution. Doesn't cost anything. A contribution to the consciousness of all of us. And it's something that we always need. Always need is some confirmation. Even if Krishna decides not to reveal himself to ourselves, if he reveals himself to someone else, that's just as good. Just as good. So, can I ask you another question?
Okay, so you were trying to draw some things together that you were saying. Because there are two kinds of living entities in human bodies. One kind are devotees, the other kind are waiting to become devotees.
Oh.
That's how my spiritual master took it. The devotees, those that are waiting to become devotees. So in Kartik Rata, there is a flow of mercy, which you don't get it. You don't get so much in any other time. You know? Because anything we do in this time is multiplied by 1,000. So one thing that Prema and I particularly relish is when we get a chance to engage people in that process, go to their house, sing a song, offer the lamp, and you can see the effect it has on them actually. It has a huge effect on them, you know, because of the mercy which has flown from down in our month. So we've done that a few times. That's pretty amazing actually. So I always think of that, you know, that there are two kinds of human beings, those that are devotees and those that are waiting for the and they're waiting for us actually. They're waiting for us. So this is for me is the one a really wonderful thing about Dhamma. Like you get a chance to bring people who perhaps otherwise wouldn't get so much opportunity to bring them close to Krishna.
Thank you. Mataji, would you like to add something? Seeing as you're the most senior devotees here.
I was thinking that's really true, that obviously it's a time that there's an opportunity to now. But also, Krishna also tests us in this time before we can decide we're going to, we're going to such and such vows. And, obviously, during the month of Kartik, it's so easy to follow the day after, it's just like, but on the other hand, you always give Krishna also tests you as, we might say, I want to do such. Like I was remembering Lokanath Maharaj, he said, we make a brat and say, Chaturmas, no spinach, no. Oh, those are easy. Try no salt for a month. Or, what's a bit of a fun of Maharaj saying, you take these vows, just no sugar or something. Put aside the devotee for a month. I was remembering that when you try something that is different, I know my own mother. I was thinking, okay, let's do it for a day. I don't think I'm going to do it for a day. And you see, okay, if I do well, pat myself on the back, okay, it's okay. It's another day tomorrow. You do the homework like that. You think, wow, this is Krishna gives you a medicine that is good for you, to teach you something, and you feel that more. Krishna's trying to help you, but he's also teaching you through, gives you.
The experience he gives you.
In one way, just like you said, it's very blissful, but at the same time, you have to check yourself, be conscious all the time, and that's how.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Kukuleshwar, I know you have a heavy load to carry. Would you like to add something?
Just coming back to the verse that you were mentioning, I was thinking, I guess one of the aspects of the consciousness of these types of people, persons like myself, is that life is somewhat transactional, and we have the same approach in spiritual life. In the material world, nothing for nothing. That's how it is. So in spiritual life, we may have that tendency as well. Okay, I will do something, Krishna, if I get something from you. So I was trying to think, well, in my consciousness, how does this manifest? So typically around this time, we would be in Vrindavan, doing a Braj Parikrama, with either His Holiness Karamakana Swami or the senior devotees. And this year has been a little different. So the expectation, at least I was thinking, maybe my expectation was, well, if I go all the way to Vrindavan during this Kartik month, well, Krishna, I want something. And this year I was thinking, well, I'm not going to Vrindavan this year. What am I going to get? And even though I have this faulty consciousness, this transactional consciousness with Krishna, he filled up the Kartik month with so many things. At the start of Kartik, we had Rath Yatra. So we got to worship Jagannath Baladev Subhadra in a very wonderful way. So I was thinking, Krishna is so kind in the month of Kartik, even if our faulty consciousness is transactional with him, still he will give us so much. What to say, if we make a genuine effort to try to please him, how much more beneficial it will be. But I was just thinking.
Thank you. Yeah. So, any volunteers, or shall we start with Mother Radharani? All right, go for it. Don't be shy. Okay. Would you like to add just a sentence or two?
It's essential of this for us. The Krishna gives so easily to us, gives anybody. So, this how kind Krishna is. And he do so little, and he watches so much. So, yeah, this is what Krishna.
Thank you for that. We don't appreciate it because most of the time we're looking for Krishna to give us stuff. And if we take the time to present something to him, he's always reciprocating. Thank you. Mataji, something?
I went to renew my learners a few weeks back. And I know I failed my eye test. So he says, take off your glasses and see the light. It's Krishna's mercy that passed the eye test, but I know the heart is not, that I couldn't see anything. That was all Krishna did.
Good. You can do things like that. Can't say you can't. No?
It was not, I think it was I couldn't see it, but I know passed.
Yeah.
Couldn't have done it.
Okay. Very nice. Appreciate it. Mataji?
I find it very enlightening in many ways.
Can we ask you to speak up a little bit?
Sorry?
Can you speak up a little bit?
I find it very enlivening in many ways. It's the time when, the only time during the day with normal family session whenever we are constantly in a very simplistic way, I enjoy the extra long. I don't read that much, but I listen to it. And of course, it was our first time experiencing Rathia training cultures. That was very
Thank you. Honorable?
I think I lost word from you. I'll just add that Krishna was very merciful towards me this Kartik as my mom was our first Kirtan Yatra ever. And I also had the opportunity to actually sit on the chariots with the deities. So I found that very interesting. It came out that way.
Right. Thank you. Mataji? Little something? We don't have to do something amazingly spectacular. In many ways, just carrying on is also Krishna's mercy. Mother Vishaka, world traveler.
it's always happening something that I don't,
Sorry.
something that I don't live in my mind. So, okay, I'm now here, and I was almost not more thinking I can here. And we cut it. But let me say, sometimes it's very hard, and sometimes it's sweet. So, like it was 3 years when I came here, I couldn't come in the temple. So, up to me to take it and learn. And I'm not in control.
Yes, we're not in control. Krishna likes to teach us that. But we don't know, like you say, you stick your hand in the, of course we don't do it anymore, we stick our hands in the bag of sweets. But we don't know what we're going to get. Maybe we don't like licorice or things like that. So we don't know what Krishna will give us. He may give us bliss, or he may give us heartache and difficulty. But whatever he gives, we accept. Thank you. Ajay? Yes. Just a minute or two if you like. Okay.
Well, looking back at what happened, something happened this month was, and sometimes in hindsight, not getting what you want is actually a blessing. Because maybe if you get it, it will interfere with your relationship with Krishna. It might maybe remove you away from it. Take up too much time, then you'll have a negative effect on your devotional service. So if you look at it that way, don't be upset, because actually it might just be a blessing. It's actually not getting it is actually beneficial to you. So sometimes don't look at it as a negative, actually look at it as a positive.
Yeah. Very nice. Oops. Would you like to say something?
Krishna is always merciful and always giving.
We just have to be ready for what he gives. That sometimes is a challenge. Thank you. Mataji, something? Okay. Yourself, Mataji?
I didn't keep any special practice, but I'm so fortunate that I had the opportunity given by to get the bliss and the mercy of this month, and just by offering this lamp I just prayed to Krishna that he was light up gravity in me. And I was more grateful to Prabhupada for having given us this opportunity, to get Krishna's mercy. And I think that to some extent, that spiritual spark in me has lightened up in this month.
Okay. Very nice. Thank you. We can appreciate Krishna. He treats us personally. He's not a God that has too many people to look after. He's very kind and confident to deal with us very personally, just like a dearmost friend. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Lakshmi Priya.
This month of Kartik has been by far the most special month of Kartik in my whole life. I think Krishna has proven again and again, as I always hear all the devotees saying, Krishna is merciful, but also Krishna fulfills our desires. I've had several secret spiritual desires, which I do not necessarily open up and share with others, but he's known most of them, and I can literally say all of them were fulfilled through opportunity of services available in this month. Be it from singing for the Lord, or playing kartar, or serving for Yatra, putting the Govardhan here at the festival. Big frame garlands, and even in situations where I was a bit hesitant on the service, I don't know if I had the confidence. Krishna brought the service back in a different form, even when I kind of withdrew myself. So I'm very, very grateful.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks. Yourself?
Hello. I don't know whether it's anything like a joke because this Yatra was postponed and I couldn't make the date due from Johannesburg.
Okay.
And actually was postponed. Practitioners want to do so we could do some service. And we could make the next week. So that was the difference.
Thanks. Good. Sometimes we don't have the time. Krishna makes time for us. Anything yourself? Prabhu? Aha. Hold on to your hats.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Firstly, we want to welcome you back to Cape Town. I think all the devotees missed you, especially during this Kartik time, because during this Kartik time you should give special lectures, and we missed that. As for me, my realization is more of an academic nature. I found myself reading Srimad Bhagavatam more than I've ever done before, and learning new things as well. Yesterday, the most recent one was when I was reading Canto 10, I think it is chapter 6, chapter 7, where Vasudev Maharaj meets Nanda Maharaj. And for the first time, I actually learned that Vasudev Maharaj and Nanda Maharaj are half brothers. They are not directly completely blood brothers, but they are half brothers. And I found that very interesting because in that same chapter, it is indicated that Vasudev Maharaj did not indicate to Nanda Maharaj that Krishna was born to them first. And that is something new that I learned, He didn't tell Nanda Maharaj. Nanda Maharaj didn't know that. And
It's like that, a little tricky when someone tells you that your son is not your son, he's mine.
Yeah. So at that time there were no what do you call it? The gene tests and all that. That's it. Right. So I just want to add that Kartik month is the month of Srimati Radha, and Srimati Radharani is the big boss, and therefore, when we even say Damodar Rasta, Radha Damodar. So I just want to add that part. So Krishna actually takes a little bit of a backseat over there because Srimati Radharani and Yashoda Mata, they run the entire scene as it were. All the pastimes are related to them during that time. So, like that, there were so many new things that I actually learned. It's not the forum to speak about that because some of the other devotees want to say things.
Yeah.
But I must say that my enthusiasm in this month of Kartik has never been more than what it was now. And Seth here used to join me. We used to sing the Medhavi Das Vyas together, and we used to offer dance as well. And I think this was a great experience for him also.
Thank you. Hello?
I think the spirit was very spiritually enlightening for us at home. And just reading the Ramadan and lighting the lamp, especially during load shedding, like everything else. The 4 hours coming up.
All right.
That alone, you don't need any other lamp that lights in that house.
Okay.
And it was, we enjoyed it. And it was so short. Because tomorrow is our last day. Can't be busy.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Cool.
Well, for me, it was business as usual, but I think at least at the start, a little sort of personal vow to try and improve and refine and fine tune my devotional service and attitude and anything. And this let day to go, so I'm hoping Krishna sees at least some effort being put in. But trying to actually execute devotional services to Krishna and not to your own ego, and try and actually do it to the best of my ability. And of course, I think he showed me 1 or 2 lessons also during this month. I think it was more on the rough side than on the easy side.
Smooth, calm and smooth is not guaranteed. Can be a very excruciating time. Okay. Anything for yourself?
For me, I met a couple of, I won't say people, because they told me they are also new here. And they asked me, Gilbert, about what do you think? Are you at learning or embracing stage? And I said, for me, I'm still at the learning stage. And then they open up and they say, you know what? I was scared to say I'm also at the learning stage. I thought you might say, I said, you know what? For me, it's now an intellectual and spiritual stimulation. And that is what I enjoy, and that is what is keeping me going. Because my intention was never to come back again and again. My intention was to come in and see what is happening and do it go on. And yeah, I'm up a couple of months, I'm still here. So that is for me intellectual and spiritual stimulation.
Okay. Thank you very much. Hello?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. This Kartik, we at the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and my Gurudev, we started our first preaching campaign in Mauritius. It was very, very successful. We did book distribution, we distributed prasad, we did a lot of preaching, whether it was in a shopping mall or on the beach. And, it was just amazing. We raised a lot of Lakshmi for our new Yatra Day, and we offered a lot of service. And the people there, they were just so kind and gentle, and one could see that they were ready to accept the mercy of Lord Krishna. So we are very, very excited that we would be able to make a difference the moment we immigrate shortly. So yes, this Kartik month has really enlightened me, and I was surprised that being an entrepreneur, I would be able to go out there and preach, because all I know is how to make money. But it was totally different. I wasn't shy. I spoke to people from different levels of society, and I was very confident. And yes, I thank Srila Prabhupada, and I thank my Gurudev for the mercy and the blessing.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
As only as Guru is forming, he's always presenting that Mauritius will become the first Krishna conscious country. So it's well on its way. We're running out of time. Pranav, you have something?
I was thinking about how the whole Krishna is devotee, and like during this month, we have so many opportunities to devotional service. And like with the Rath Yatra, which happened during the beginning of that day, so nice to when such a joy to see when people, all the devotees, but people come to Krishna consciousness and they get the blessing of doing service, offering a lamp during party. And you know, it's like you know, making a lot of spiritual advancement and myself, and just thankful for all the opportunities doing service. So,
Thank you. All right, is there anyone else that want to contribute? Mataji? We're running out of time, but
Hare Krishna. Medhavi.
Hare Krishna.
It has been a difficult time, but I think because I'm surrounded by so much light in my life, and I've made up offered so many lamps that I can see that although the tunnel is not, I haven't started going through the tunnel yet. I can see that there's already light at the end of the tunnel, and people like Mother Bishara don't come back into my life, so that brings hope. There's a possibility that I'm going to travel, but I just don't know the dates. I put the dates of April, but that they might have. I've already identified the temple that I need to go to, and I've watched the videos telling me that there's still being temple there. The temple is not up yet. So I think Krishna is opening up many opportunities.
Just one more minute, yeah. We have a minute. If you'd like to add?
I was revived by the materialistic love of Krishna and spiritual love, very distinguished about material love of between master and the servant. The master loves the power or the energy of the servant, and the servant is looking for the money. But spiritually, when I was revived, reading Bhagavad Gita, by doing voluntary service on the temple, you don't look for your actions or your results. So I was revived by those words. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna. Anyone else? Would like to present something? Yes, ma'am.
I think it was for me still very difficult month. I was involved in a car accident.
Oh.
But the lighting of the lamps, the first year that I've actually done the Hamada, the lighting the lamps every night. I'm so grateful for this.
Okay.
Thank you for Krishna.
Krishna's very kind. Sometimes he gives us excruciating kindness, and sometimes he gives us ecstatic kindness. We can't really choose, but he knows what's best. So we receive that. So there's still one more day tomorrow. So it'll come, whether you're offering here or in your homes. But it's a very special time of the year, and prepares us for developing the consciousness for keeping in the mood of service. So we thank you all very much. We'll continue with the program now. Srila Prabhupada ki, Shri Shri Nitai, Madhachan, Jai Gaur. Hare Krishna.